Social shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hit me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes. What's going on, people, man? Back in the building. Just a quick preview for tonight's Champions League game. And that is, of course, PSV versus Liverpool. It is the final match day of the group stage of the Champions League. So yeah, there's a lot going on this evening. I'll be honest with you, there is a lot going on. Guys, if you could please make sure that you, of course, hit the like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of good stuff. And of course, later on this evening, and I will remind everybody later on, of course, in the stream, I will be finally over on BigUp, the other streaming platform. I finally sorted out everything, and I'll be doing a watch along. Yes, I know I've finally succumbed to the pressure, but listen, we're here. So I said I would go over there, but this evening I won't be doing a Liverpool watch along. I'll be doing a Stuttgart versus PSG watch along. So make sure you guys, of course, check that out as well. That should be quite interesting. Two teams who are still, well, at this moment in time, they've qualified for the next round. But if other results, don't go their way, then it could be a little bit sticky for them. But instead of doing a normal watch along, which of course, like, me, I'll get bored. I'll be honest with you. I'll just get bored of doing like a normal watch along, just sitting there watching teams. I need to do something whilst I'm doing something. I'm that type of person, as you guys already know. So we'll be doing more of a player watch along. So this evening we'll be looking at Angelo Stiller, the midfielder for Stuttgart. He's the name that's kind of hot around Europe. Young midfielder. Yeah, he's been playing pretty decent this season from what I've seen, and the reports coming out is that he's going to be moving on potentially in the maybe next year. I think he signed a new deal with Stuttgart. So, at this current moment in time, of course, he will stay here at least for this season. But moving on, it does look like the top clubs are looking at him, and he could be making that move sooner than we think. So, yeah, I'll be doing an Angelo Stiller watch this evening for the Stuttgart versus PSG game. So make sure you guys head on over to BigUp. As you can see there, the link is in the chat already. So all you got to do is click that link, and you'll become a member, and then you're good to go. Yes, it is free, so you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to, I got to pay this. No, it's all free, so you don't have to worry about anything. It's just me doing a watch along, and we can just chop it up over there. That's something that I'm going to try and do over there on BigUp is, we can just chop it up, talk about various different things. I don't mind, looking at the scores of other games, whatever it might be, just we'll do that over there on BigUp. So now if I do a watch along, or a player watch along, should I say, it will be over on BigUp instead of YouTube. But of course, I'll still be doing, the majority of my content over here. So you guys will not have to worry in regards to that. Now, we're done with all of that kind of stuff. Liverpool, PSV, should I say. It's going to be... in my personal opinion, it seems like it's going to be quite like an interesting kind of game. And I say interesting more so because of the squad that Liverpool obviously are, putting out to go over there. Obviously, quite a lot of the first team players are not going to be, would I say, somewhat quote unquote available for the match in itself, which is cool. I've got no real problems with that. I think, to be honest, why not? It's the last match day. And Arne Slot as well said in his press conference, it doesn't really matter finishing first or second. We can't go lower than second anyway. So why not? Do you know what I mean? And to be honest, I was kind of happy to, to hear that, if I'm being totally honest with you, because I didn't want him to potentially bring over certain players, to to PSV, and then they get injured, and then we're all sitting there like, oh my goodness, why did this player get injured? Why did he play? He should have just stayed at home, and then yada yada yada. And it's kind of always the same, the same kind of thing. And I'm kind of bored of it now. So listening to Arne Slot and hearing him say that, for me, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. That's actually perfect, if I'm being totally honest with you. Good morning to you, Hakeem. Hope you are blessed. Big up Abdul as well. As he said, man, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This won't be too long anyway. Like I said, it's one of those kind of games. It's a bit like the Ipswich game in the weekend. It's not really much going on. So yeah, but listen, ultimately, this is the squad that he's pulled out, which is, you guys can of course see on your screen. So players like Endo, of course, going to be there. Nunes, Chiesa, Gakpo, Elliott, Tsimikas, Robertson, Trent, 𝐒𝐁𝐒, he'll be there as well. Isaac Mabea, Jesus Christ, that's a name I haven't seen in a very long time. James McConnell, Jaros, Kelleher, Narlo as well, he'll be there. Kieran Morrison, I'm interested if he is, of course, to play. Interested to see. Don't know who he is, what position he plays, or anything like that. For all I know, he could be a goalkeeper, but just interested to see, because he's the only name on this list that I did not recognize when I saw it before. Jaden Dans, James Norris, Kwanzaa, Morton, Bradley, Harvey Davis, and Trey ENNY. I think that's going to be, and it's like I said, it's going to be interesting. More so just in terms of, the players that we don't really see that often, if I'm being honest. And I think he did kind of allude to that in regards to some of those players, players who might need a bit of rhythm, especially if an injury obviously pops up and things like that. We need these players to be, in that kind of rhythm. Otherwise, it will just be problematic, moving forward. Big up Mikes, I've just sent you that now. Abdul saying Bournemouth game will be tricky. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in our preview for that game in itself. But yeah, that's the squad. Liverpool have obviously taken out there. Obviously, this is the form of both teams as of recent. PSV only got one defeat in their last 5 games, which was a 3-1 loss. Liverpool only with that 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. So Liverpool obviously come into this in better form. But PSV, they're doing pretty well, if I'm being totally honest with you. Of course, in the ENDZ, you can see they are top of the league by 4 points. Obviously, Ajax do have that game in hand, so probably could and will, close that gap. But PSV doing all right this season, only lost 3 games so far this season with 16 victories, scored 65 goals. That is a lot of goals. I'll tell you for free, that is a lot of goals. So one of the things that Arne Slot spoke about in his press conference, obviously talking about the team, and it's good because now recently I've been starting to listen to these press conferences, and he's finally, like, it's not his fault, it's more the journalists and stuff who ask him the question, but they're finally starting to ask questions that are pertaining to the actual game. How does the team play? How do you think you can combat that? Or, what do you think you can do to be able to, score against them, or, have to play well? And one of the things he obviously mentioned, was PSV don't seem like a team who are going to sit back. They're not going to sit back and wait for you to come on. They're going to, play, with the goalkeeper. They're not just going to launch it long. So it's not going to be none of that low block kind of stuff, that, we've been seeing, with Liverpool or up against Liverpool, in recent times, where we've kind of struggled against those kind of opponents. People like Manchester United, Nottingham Forest, those kind of games where it's a little bit sticky, for Liverpool. So hopefully this could be a game which could have a lot of goals. Like, obviously, this is going to be Liverpool's second team and stuff like that, or third team, if you even want to call it that. But regardless, it should still be a good game. Big up and good morning to you, Mikes. How are you doing, bro, man? How are you this morning?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're all good, man.
Yeah,
you're all good.
I'm good, man. I'm just trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to watch 18 games on at the same time tonight, but I will figure out a way. When there's a will, there's a way.
I saw your tweet. Man's asking, anyone got any spare screens? If you do, guys, please put them in the chat. Michael will send you his address and you can send those screens off to
fucking 18
him,
games. I don't think I've ever seen this in football before. 18 games on at the same time.
That's a lot of games, bro. That's it. Okay, so it just didn't go. Sorry, go.
No, I was just gonna say, because that the only comparison is probably like the final match day of every league.
Yeah. That's that. And to be honest, like and that's what I was gonna ask you in regards to that. Like, do you? I've not heard you say it, or maybe I have heard you. I've just forgotten. Do you prefer this format to the old format, or do you prefer the old format to this format?
I'm actually in favor of this format. The only
Okay.
problem with this format is there's too many teams.
Okay.
Now, if we had 32 teams and this format, I think this would cook, honestly.
Yeah.
Because then you would see like the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich, the Borussia Dortmund, Juventus. They're all in between like 13 to 20. Can you imagine that in the final match day? You're like, oh my God, Real Madrid could go out. Oh, maybe Bayern Munich could go out. Now, obviously, we have the knockout round, so we'll see what happens there. But I think the group stage was getting stale. I think this is now a better format where we see, no, obviously, look, Champions League, UEFA, it's all about money. They all just want to make about money. And that's not football nowadays. And people, I harshly have to say it, have to accept it. It's the world we live in. So with this format, I think we're seeing better matchups. We're seeing teams like, lower teams like a Crvena Zvezda, like a Club Brugge, like a Stade Brestois. Dude, the amount of money they are making is ridiculous for them. And that will only benefit them for the future. So I'm actually really in favor of this format. I just wish it was 32 teams, but, it's UEFA at the end of the day. They're going to try and make money no matter what. But I'm intrigued to see then, when it gets to the knockout round, what the matchups will be then in the round of 16. I think in the round of 16, we're going to probably get some crazy matchups at this point.
Yeah, from what I saw, and obviously this is it here. So this is currently if every team stayed in the exact same position at the end of this match day, this is exactly what the playoffs and the round of 16 would look like. So you can see at the top there, you've got Aston Villa and Monaco. They would play obviously Sporting and Stuttgart. You got Feyenoord and Lille. They'll play Benfica and PSG. You got Brest and Borussia Dortmund would play PSV and Club Bruges. You got Bayern and Real Madrid who would then play Juve and Celtic. So if obviously depending on who wins those games, you've obviously got this, and obviously the winners of even the 9th, 10th, 23rd or 24th game will obviously face off against Atalanta. The winners of those will of course play as well Bayern Leverkusen. And you can see Atletico Madrid, Milan will face either 11th, 12th, 21st, or 22nd. Arsenal and Inter. I thought Inter was actually ahead. Arsenal and Inter, 13th, 14th, 19th, and 20th. And then, of course, Liverpool, Barcelona will face either Madrid or Madrid or Bayern Munich, or potentially Juve. I'm not going to throw away Juve. You never know.
Yeah,
you know
Juve
what?
will just get
Even
two draws and a penalties. That's what Juve will do.
Yeah. No, it's true. Big up Hakibi saying, "Give me this." Listen, it is the Super League, but it's the official Super League under UEFA's kind of ruling. The fact that I remember when they did the whole advert with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
before.
that was a cold advert, though. I can't lie.
No. It was a cold advert, but then when he dropped the line about it not being like the Super League or whatever, like along those kind of lines. I was like, bro, like this is the Super League. Why do we have to do this? But I get it. Listen, they need to have their stamp of like their mark on these kind of competitions. They need to be also seen, because I think also for the order of football, how football is in a general sense, for them, they needed to have their mark kind of stamped on something like this. Because the idea, and I said this way back when we first heard about Super League, and everyone was getting upset and, oh my goodness, why is my club saying they're gonna join, and Liverpool fans were losing their minds. I was like, okay, no worries, we'll come back to this later on. Fast forward however many years that is, we're now having the Super League. It is literally no different to what these guys were. Well, it's different to what they initially proposed. Then they came up with the whole teams can enter, because obviously they were trying to do it based on legacy and stuff like that, which I understood was a little bit unfair. No worries. As Michael said, there's so many teams in there who are, this is benefiting, in terms of the money and the prize money and things like that. Fair enough. You've now entered more teams and stuff like that, and it's the same thing. It's really the exact same thing. We've got a league table.
Do you like this format? Do you think it's an improvement on the group stage? Because for me, I think the group stage was just getting stale. People cry about, oh, we want our old group stage. Okay, do you want to see Man City beat Shakhtar Donetsk twice? Is that what you want to see? Or do you want to see Liverpool go up against Slovan Bratislava twice and we beat them 5-0, 5-0? I mean, we want it, as fans of Liverpool, fans of Real Madrid, or fans of Barcelona, you want to go up against the best. You want to see where you're at in the pedestal of football nowadays. So I think this is an improvement on that. I just wish it was 32 teams. That's my only qualm on this.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you like this format?
No, I like the format. I prefer it, to be honest with you. Like let me even see if I can get I haven't got the full league table, but I had one with PSV, like where they were in the table in itself. And I was sitting there looking, thinking, bro, like, when are we ever going to have a league table where on the final day of this league table, right? And this is just obviously from 15th to 25th. That's a lot of teams in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Bayern Munich here, currently there. Obviously, they're fine. They'll obviously qualify and etc. But look at it. Manchester City are on 8 points. This is why I said to you in the tweet, I said, to me, the game, I'm going to do the watch along for the game of Stuttgart versus PSG, because I said that game I feel is the most intriguing purely because Stuttgart are obviously literally just above Manchester City by 2 points. If Man City win and Stuttgart lose, Stuttgart will obviously, drop down, which is obviously problematic. But also, when you look at it, if it ends up in a draw and both teams, obviously PSG and Stuttgart, end on 11 points, it will then come down to goal difference, and Stuttgart will obviously drop out anyway because of that. So Stuttgart have to win, really, to not have to rest on Manchester City. They just need to win this game. Because if they win this game, they know they're comfortably, safely through. Then they don't have to worry. Sporting Lisbon as well are also another team who are looking at it. Benfica, Club Brugge. These teams are looking at it thinking, shit, if Man City win and other results don't necessarily go our way, because the goal difference, look at it, it's really Man City on +2. You've got, who else is there? PSV obviously on +3. PSG +2. +1. It's too close, bro. It's like Celtic are probably just lucky that they got that extra point. Now they don't have to necessarily worry. But think of it like this. As Michael said, in the old format, let's be real, we've seen Celtic in this competition however many times. They never usually make it through. Usually they finish, at best, they finish third, right? Which is obviously unfair because they usually put into a group with like Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich or, someone who you just think this is just ridiculous, right? Now, Celtic are through to the next round, which also benefits them in terms of the money because then they can use that towards other things. And then it brings in more, I feel like it will bring in better competition for all of these other leagues if they can obviously make it through. Like if the league table stayed like this, Club Brugge into the playoff round. Now it's just a knockout game. Anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen in knockout games. Anything can happen. All of a sudden, now you're into the round of 16. And then all of a sudden, things start to change because people see it as, well, I don't have to necessarily go to or jump to a big club straight away just to play Champions League football. Technically, I could go to one of these teams and actually still have a chance at least making it through to like the next stage and then the next stage. And then you can go from there. So this might actually, in my opinion, change the dynamic of, football in a general sense. But listen,
I think it's very interesting to see how then this develops over the upcoming years. Are we always going to see like one big team like a Man City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona struggle and might not even making it to the top 24? It's all depending on, of course, the schedule you get. Like PSG have had a hell of a schedule. I mean, they've gone through the gauntlet. They've played Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Man City. And I don't really feel bad for them, but I feel like they got unfortunate with the draw. You can get lucky with that draw at the beginning of this whole competition, and you can just run the table and go perfect. So it really depends on the schedule you get, but I like it. I think it's very intriguing to see how this develops. And then when it gets to the round of 16, then you can do all your little calculations like your money ball in that scene when the money is spinning. Or no, sorry, that's Hangover. With Zach Galifianakis, where he's at the blackjack table and all the numbers are spinning. You could do that when it's around a 16 because then we get a proper bracket. No, there's no other draw or anything. I think they only do a draw for which day the fixtures are. That's the only draw they do. So I think people just got to take it easy. Liverpool fans are crying, oh my God, we're first in the whole entire Champions League. We're going to play either Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Juventus. Excuse me, this is called the Champions League. Yeah. What is this called? The Mickey Mouse League. This is the Champions League. No Liverpool fan was crying 2 seasons ago when we played Real Madrid in the round of 16. Nobody was crying. We just went for it, and well, obviously we were horrendous then, and that's why we got smacked up 5-2 at home. But this is the Champions League. You play the best of the best in Europe. So bring it on. This is a part of football.
Nah, it's well, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. All right, let's take a look at PSV. There's actually a couple of players that I wanted to. It's actually good that Mike is actually here. He can potentially talk more on a couple of them. Obviously, this is all predicted. It's not the actual lineup. This is just what they think they are going to go with for the game. There's two players in. Well, there's more, but there's two that I think and most people will kind of care about. Obviously, one is of course Bakayoko. You know that we've been. I don't want to say we've been linked, but we've been linked at the same time. Like it's been rumored that we've been linked, you know, with Bakayoko throughout the last couple of seasons. I think people are looking at him potentially being, you know, this Salah or whoever on the left wing kind of replacement. When you look at Bakayoko, man, how do you think he's done this season? And do you think, one, is he a good player in your eyes? And two, if he doesn't come to a Liverpool, doesn't have to, where do you think his kind of career is heading at this moment in time?
This year hasn't been good as last year, and I feel like in the Champions League, he's been sort of wasteful with his opportunities. I still like the player. I think he's a very direct. He basically, as you can see with the heat map, he wants to take it down the wing. Touchline winger, one-on-one situations, beat a man. That's what he wants to do. And when he gets the opportunity to shoot at goal, I mean, the dude will shoot from 40 yards out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he just shoots constantly at goal. So I think he is a good player. Maybe doesn't have the same numbers as last year if you want to talk about 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒. Now, do I think he's ready for a move to Liverpool? Honestly, no. I think a move to Dortmund would probably suit him. A move to maybe Brentford, a team like that, or a move to.
So you think maybe if Brentford were to sell Mbeumo, they should get like a Bakayoko kind of thing?
Yeah. I think that would be a smart move from them. Okay, you get rid of Mbeumo, he goes to another club like an Arsenal. Go get Bakayoko then, because clearly Thomas Frank can turn dust into gold, and obviously Bakayoko is not dust. He can turn him from silver into gold, and then maybe into platinum. So yeah, I think Bakayoko is a good player. Just been a little bit of a down year for him, and look, there's more eyeballs on him, and he's only got one goal in the Champions League so far this season. But with PSV, it's all about providing service to Luuk de Jong or Ricardo Pepi. So he's not going to have a lot of goals on this team. But yeah, tonight he's probably going to go up against Tsimikas. He might drop a 2 tonight. I can't lie.
That's actually jokes. That's Thiel. I don't know much about him. I watch a few of the comps and stuff like that, but you know, that's not really enough to really get a gauge really of him. But from what I saw of him, I was like, he looks like a neat player. He actually looked like a neat little player. Obviously, he scored a few goals, of course, and got assists this season. Chat to me about him, man. Like, what type of a player is he? What is his kind of strengths, if you know, kind of thing, in terms of if he does play, what would we have to worry about?
Well, I found this out the other day. Do you know he could have played for the Zambia national team?
Him?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? That sounded so bad. I didn't mean it like that, people, but that just threw me off. That just threw me off. Sorry. I apologize to anybody. I didn't mean it like that. That was just me.
Yeah, so he could have played for the Zambian national team because he was born there actually in Zambia. So he could have played for the national team. Yeah, that would have been actually really cool to see him play. But I think he's already got 6 caps for the Dutch national team. I like Gus Til. Gus Til is. He was with Feyenoord, very technical player. I think with the PSV midfield 3, they kind of just rotate positions more. He's going to obviously isolate more to the right side and combine play with Bakayoko. But I like Gus Til. I think he is. Do I see him making like a huge jump in his career? Not really. I think he's where could he go? Maybe like a Brighton, somewhere like that. I think somewhere a decent club, but very technical player. Finds the assist. Mostly his assists are crosses into the box to Luuk de Jong. His eye for a pass is very good. Same thing with Schuiten, the other midfielder on this team. So PSV, with their midfielders, it's all about just supply. It's not about, keeping the ball. Obviously, you see here, Veerman as well, Schuiten, Gus Til, those 3 in the midfield. Obviously, Schuiten, he's going to have to probably play center back today because their starting center back Flamingo got a red card against Cervantes Festa. So those 3, it's all about just rotating positions. All right, Veerman, you push up forward. Gus Til, you take up the DM role. Schuiten's more of just like a pure DM. He's just gonna stay right there as the playmaker, and Gus Til is combining the play with Noah Long to Bakayoko to Luuk de Jong. So yeah, nifty player. I wouldn't say he's like amazing or he's gonna make a big move to a big club, but he's a decent player.
Nah, that's actually interesting. You mentioned another player there. And this is the player who I from what I can remember, I'm sure you was chatting to me about him like ages ago, like maybe like a year and a half ago. And that's Noah Lang. He was someone that I looked at. I remember I'm sure it was Michael. I can't think of anybody else who would have told me, but you told me, "Oh, watch out for this kid." At the time, was he at Club Brugge
Yeah,
before? I
Club
want
Brugge,
to
yeah.
yeah, he was there before, and he was telling me to watch him. And obviously now he's of course at PSV. What type of a player is he? For those who obviously don't know, and because he's going to be playing on the left, that means that's
Yeah.
our right back. So that's Bradley.
Bradley, yeah.
What kind of battle do you think he's going to have with Bradley today or tonight?
One-on-one battle. That's what Noah Lang wants to do. Noah Lang's had a very interesting career because he had a bust up, I think, with Ten Hag. He was actually an Ajax player.
Yeah.
He's their academy player. He had a bust up with Ten Hag. Then I think he had a falling out with the board or something like that, maybe with Ten Hag. Then he went to Club Brugge, and then obviously with Club Brugge he started to really cook, and then he made the move to PSV, Ajax's rivals. I think he's similar to Bakayoko. Touchline winger, one-on-one situations, when he has an opportunity to shoot at goal, 30 yards out. And he's got a bullet of a right foot. Now, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. I think the past 2 seasons, I think he had a long-term injury heading into this season. That's why you haven't seen him play a lot. But he's similar to Bakayoko. Both of the wingers, they just want to get isolated out on the wing. There's not, okay, Junior is going to overlap or Ledesima is going to overlap on the right side. No. There's no overlap in here. Natural. 1-1 battle. So let's see Connor Bradley. I think this is a good test for Connor Bradley because Noah Lang is not a winger that you see a lot in the Premier League. You know, in the Premier League, it's about, okay, keep the ball and go back to the midfield. Keep the ball, go back to the midfield. Peter Bosz and his style of football is very direct. So that's going to be the quick thing for Arne Slot. And obviously, Arne Slot is very familiar with Peter Bosz ball from last season with Feyenoord. I think it's a good matchup. And Noah Lang, he's just had a very frustrating career because you see there's the potential, but he's a hothead as well. He loses his cool very, very easily.
I hate players. Sorry, hate's a strong word. I dislike it when players do that because I'm like, you got talent, man. Like, don't ruin the talent with, thinking you're above, everything else. If I'm being totally honest, like, just take it easy. Do your steps, because I felt like he was like watching him play, bro. Like, I'm telling you guys now, if you guys like Neymar, you would like a Noah Lang, right? Like, he's that kind of style, so to speak. But if you can't match that with the application, you're just going to be another Adel Tarapt or those kind of players where or Hatem Ben Arfa, those type of players where you think, Jesus Christ, imagine if those guys, like, I'm even talking, and by the way, I still think he was a good player throughout his career. You could even be like a Dimitri Payet. Like, you could be like that where you've got all the showboating and stuff like that, but you've got a bit of application about you where it's like, okay, I've got enough that I can still kind of keep myself somewhat relevant in terms of Payet was obviously still playing, up to a point, for the French national team. Obviously, I know he went to West Ham, but that's West Ham. Marseille, like, he can still go and play at these kind of clubs and you can still remain somewhat, relevant. Where you don't want to be like these other players, man. Trust me, it's not good for your career. And he's still young. It's not like he's like 30. The guy's still young, he's still in his early 20s. So, for me, I'm just like, I hope he's able to turn all of this into some type of application and use that talent. But listen, we'll just have to wait and see.
They're very, obviously you can see by their Eredivisie goals. I mean, this team score goals.
Yeah, they've got 65, I think. Is it?
Bro,
yeah,
they
65.
score goals. I mean, I think they just destroyed a team 8-0 the other week in the Eredivisie. So they're going to score goals. But one thing is, they're going to concede a lot of goals. They almost lost to Shakhtar at home in the Champions League. They were 2-0 down. I think it was the 85th minute. Shakhtar, I mean, their goalkeeper was having a madness. And then somehow PSV won the game with 3 goals in the 90th minute. So this team, the drama is there. Same thing with Feyenoord in the Champions League this season. There's drama. They score goals. I like the Eredivisie teams, but they don't know how to defend. That is simply their downfall.
That's actually so funny. Big up Abdul. I like number 10, like Baggio, Zidane, Rui Costa, Jesus Christ, Rui Costa, Bergkamp, Iniesta, Totti, Del Piero. Yeah, they're all fantastic players. I've got no qualms. It's, I know I always do this, guys, but you guys know I'm a nostalgia merchant, right? Like, and I'm not afraid to say it. Like, when people name names of players, it bugs me so much because if you look at that list, even on itself, let's take out Zidane, and Iniesta, and you just looked at maybe Badger. So let's say you just looked at Rui Costa, Bergkamp, Totti, and Del Piero. They were amazing players, like world class at some stages and whatever, but they were just amazing players, right? But none of those probably would have been considered the best at any point, not because they're not the best.
Del Piero was definitely when he was 19, 20, bro. He could consider him the best player in Serie A.
No. When I say the best, I mean like you, and this is obviously subjective. I wouldn't have put these guys in terms of in their time, in that time period that they were obviously amazing. I wouldn't have put them like, oh, this is like the top. Maybe Del Piero, but I wouldn't have put some of them into like, this is like the top 3 player in the world. Not because they're not sick players. They're amazing players. But when you look at them, you're like, unfortunately, Bergkamp played in an era with Thierry Henry. So unfortunately, you're already at minimum number 2. And then you've still got all of the other players in and around that kind of period of time. Even if you go back to his early days when he was at, like, say, Inter Milan or, stuff like that, I wouldn't have called him like a top 3 player in the world. Rui Costa, the same thing. I wouldn't have called him at any point a top 3 player, but you would say, no, this is still an amazing player. Like, this is still one of like the better players in world football, but because of obviously the talent that you had. Whereas now, like when we're talking about players and stuff, think about it like this, even yourself, actually, you'll think more about younger players than you would about older players. So when you talk about players, sometimes you're more talking about the younger generation as opposed to, look at this guy who's 28. Look at this guy who's 29. Like, you might have a few players, of course, like the Rodris and stuff like that, but they're few and far between. Now it's like Angelo Stiller, as an example, another young-ish kind of player. Obviously not that young, but young-ish kind of player. We're not talking about players who are in that kind of bracket. And I'm like, it's almost like we missed almost a generation of
well, yeah, that generation was supposed to be Pogba, Hazard, Bale, and they're all done.
Yes,
they're all done. And Neymar, obviously, I think Neymar going back to Brazil is actually a good move. But that generation was supposed to take the mantle from Ronaldo and Messi. Obviously, they were never gonna, I don't think, reach the levels of Messi and Ronaldo because they were ridiculous. But those players were supposed to be, okay, your guys are always going to be top 10 players in the world until maybe you're 33, 35. Bro, some of them are retired. I mean, like Hazard was a flop at Real Madrid. Hazard should have been one of the best players. When he went to Real Madrid, boom, you're going to be a top 5 player for the rest of your career until you retire. But, I think with this younger generation, I think that this younger generation, though, from 20 to 25 range, I think they're going to be special players, though. When we talk about them in 30 years' time, me and G with gray beards, no hair, we're going to be telling our kids and our grandkids, guys, you should have seen Jamal Musiala. You should have seen Florian Wirtz. You should have seen some of these players. So, yeah, I think, look, especially nowadays as well with football media and everybody want to do reaction videos. Okay, we're going to talk about this player. One game he's terrible. Next game he's world class. I'm sure we could have done the same thing back in the day for Rui Costa. I can guarantee you this. Dennis Bergkamp at Inter, some people would have never guessed he would turn into a world-class player like he was at Arsenal. Yeah, he had the potential, but he didn't show it consistently. Totti is one of my favorite players of all time. Del Piero went a couple of seasons struggling with injury especially. So, look, why we regard those players so highly, like the Tottis to Iniestas and Del Pieros, they consistently did it for a long time, and now obviously they're retired, so we're kind of nostalgic merchants. I think we're going to get to that stage when we're 30 years past, and I'm just really excited about the new generation. I think there's a good style of football also emerging right now. I think we're going away from the sort of positional sense of football where you have to strictly stay to one position. No, I think we're going sort of turning back into a number 10 role in football.
No, I 100% agree. I think Xavi in that Barca team went under. He didn't go under the radar. I don't think he went under the radar.
I think so. I think Iniesta and Messi got the highlights for that team, bro. And Xavi was just there dictating every single game.
You know what's crazy about that? I'm happy you say that because to me, I feel like Iniesta goes under the radar more than Xavi because the way that people talk about Xavi, which, by the way, is one of my favorite midfielders. But with the way people talk about him, I don't feel like he gets the same like acclaim as like an Iniesta at times. I'm like, nah, but Iniesta was. But you know what? It might just be maybe the people who I'm listening to and some people.
You know why? Because Iniesta has more of the highlights moments. He has the goal
True.
against Chelsea in the
Chelsea, yeah,
semifinal,
yeah.
World Cup winner. So he has those highlight moments. Xavi never got a big goal. Name me a big
Yeah.
goal Xavi scored.
Big goal, no, but he scored some somewhat important goals in El
Yeah, he scored
Clasico.
it. He scored the third goal when they beat Real Madrid 5-0 when Piqué was showing 5. That's the only goal I remember from Xavi. No, I'm actually being serious. What was the goals that like, wow, Xavi, he scored in
But
this
he
game, he
wasn't.
scored in that
Okay,
game.
but we know that
He
Xavi
wasn't really a
wasn't really
scorer.
about goal. Yes, exactly. He's not the
But
goal
that's
scorer.
why I'm saying that Iniesta had more of those highlight moments. But Xavi was
Okay,
just
fair.
a magician in the midfield. I mean, the fact that Iniesta and Xavi played together for over a decade is just ridiculous for Barca fans, man. They got to see that for a decade. Jeez. Now they get to see Pedri.
Yeah, Pedri and Gavi. Listen, I'll be here talking about Barcelona all day. You know what's actually interesting? looking at that. Obviously, there's always going to be the comparisons, like with like Iniesta, Xavi, and Pedri, Gavi, right? One, because of the names, first and foremost, but also just because of the two players and how they play in obviously this Barcelona team. What I don't want though is that it's like too much pressure I feel on a Pedri and Gavi, and obviously we've seen these guys. Listen, they've been injured, like both of them recently. You know, quite a lot in their career in terms of they're only still really young and they've been injured for this amount of time. Gavi, obviously, you know, just coming back not too long ago. Pedri as well, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, listen, of course, in terms of just pure talent and ability with the football, yes, they could go on to do amazing things, and they probably will go on to do that. I just don't want the pressure, because the pressure is always going to come with you're at Barcelona, Xavi, Iniesta. Like, I get it, and I want that too. I want Barcelona to get back to that stage. I don't think it ever will, because you need a Messi as well somewhere in the team, and they don't have that. Well, maybe Yamal can turn into that potentially, or that type of player. But I just think at this moment in time, let these kids just be kids. Let them make mistakes, man. People are so quick. Like I've seen the other day, yesterday. How old is Lamine Yamal? 17?
17.
People yesterday, like I saw on the timeline, and I don't know where it came from, but people on the timeline were like, everyone talks about Lamine Yamal until you show us the stats. I'm like, Jesus Christ, is that what we've come to? Like, Lamine Yamal, of all people, this is how you're talking about him. Like, he's just one of those, like, he's just an aesthetics type of guy, like an Adele to rap. Like, bro, we're talking about one of the best, probably top 2 right wingers in world football alongside Salah. Like, that's the level that we're talking about at this moment in time. And Salah's all 32, 33 years of age. So there's already a massive gap anyway between the two players. And we're already saying him, Saka as well, if you like throw him in there. Those are 3 of the best right wingers in world football. And you guys are like almost diminishing it because his stats are not Messi-esque. And I'm like, people forget Messi was not scoring 40 goals at the age of 17. Like, I need people to understand that. Like,
he was doing
Messi
22, 23.
Exactly.
That's when he started doing it.
Look how many, that's 5-6 years, Michael. That's 5-6 years after he's even made his debut. It's taken him 5-6 years to get to the stage where now every season it's like 40 is like a bad season in terms of the goals and stuff like that. So I think just people just need to chill, let these guys do their thing. Pedri, Gavi as well, and that they'll get there. But let's get back to PSV Liverpool. Obviously, as I said before, honestly, I didn't even watch it till the end. The sound quality was kind of rubbish, man. So I started to tune out of it. But honestly, obviously, was talking about PSV, obviously coming back to Holland. Talked about PSV's style of play, about how they're not a team who are going to try and sit in this low block. As Michael said, they've scored 65 flipping goals in the Eredivisie. So, of course, they're not a team. And they've only conceded 20. And that's actually pretty decent when I actually think about it. For a team that attacks so much, you've only conceded 20, considering Liverpool have conceded more in their own domestic league. But when we're looking at the game in itself, where do you think this game is going to be won and lost for both teams?
Probably the midfield, because PSV, if you're going to look on paper, judging by the squad that we called up for this game, they're probably going to win the midfield battle. And if we can't win that midfield battle, then that's going to be a struggle for us, because that's where basically they're starting, because they don't really get a lot of attacking play from their fullbacks for PSV. So it's going to come to like some Schouten to Til to Virman. If we can nullify the midfield, then we can win this game. I I think we can keep the likes of 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒 quiet. I mean, obviously, he's just super reliant on crosses. I mean, the guy is like 35, 36 years old, still scoring goals. He scored 2 goals last week against 𝐒𝐷𝐻𝐻𝐿. I think he is really just down to the midfield. And obviously, if our fullbacks can handle the likes of Noah Lang to Bakayoko, who want to get into those one-on-one situations. So yeah, I think it's really the midfield battle. I mean, look at our midfield here today. What are we going to play with? Elliot, Morton, and
Well, this is the lineup that I went with because I was like you. I was struggling to try and find a midfield, and I know some people threw in James McConnell. I'll be honest, I don't really rate James McConnell at all. I think he's someone who will end up leaving. He's like a Bobby Clark. Them guys will just leave like quietly, next season.
Have you heard anything from Bobby Clark at RB Salzburg? Okay.
No. But okay, prime example. This is so funny. Obviously, I don't know if you know. Obviously, if you've been watching the situation, obviously with Bajcetic, apparently he's going to be going now on loan to Las Palmas instead. Well, for the second half of the season. So Liverpool going to call him back, and then he's going to go on loan there. I was like, that in itself, not saying ring alarm bells, because Salzburg have been kind of pants this season anyway, and obviously Pep Linders has been sacked and all of that stuff. Fair.
Shameless plug. Sorry, G. I did a video on downfall of RB Salzburg, so go check it out on the channel, people.
Guys, the link is right there. Make sure you go and check that shit out. You guys can
because all the connections with the Liverpool players and Pep Linders might have started their downfall big time.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that then.
Bajcetic and Bobby Clark have been terrible for them. Absolutely terrible.
Serious. See, I've not, and the thing is, I'm not even gonna lie. I've not even been taking any notice. All I've taken notice is the odd Champions League game that I've watched. But then that was at the beginning of the Champions League, like between match day 1 and 3. And all I kept seeing from Liverpool comp makers was, oh, look at Bajcetic. He's doing this. He's doing that. When I looked at Bajcetic's games, I'll show you right now, actually. The guy's not even really playing like that. No, anyway, he was starting. Let me see here. All right, cool. So his last game, he didn't play against Real Madrid in the 5-1 defeat. He played 45 minutes on the 15th. That's a friendly, I think. Yeah, that's a friendly.
Yeah, friendly, yeah.
So let's go back to an actual competitive game. His last competitive, obviously, I know they've got a break, so fair enough. But his last competitive game that he played 19 minutes in was against Austria Klagenfurt. Klagenfurt. Yeah, he played 19 minutes in that. He then played 24 minutes against PSG before that. Rapid Vienna, he played 71. That was his last start, I believe. And then Salzburg, they obviously had 2 games against them. He played 64 minutes in one and 27 in the other. The guy's not really playing, bro. So when I looked at it, I started laughing and I was like, wow. So this is and listen, I'm not blaming, I'm not saying it's his fault that Salzburg are shit, for example, because I don't know. But when I look at it on the face of it, I'm just like, it's interesting because the way that everyone spoke about Bajcetic, and listen, I'm not going to crash it on him. I think he's okay. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel like he's as good as the way that we rated him to be. I think we all went a bit far with it because we were living in a time where we had Fabinho, Hendo, and James Milner still in the team. So he was the energetic youngster coming through, playing against Madrid, Man City, putting in challenges, scoring goals against Aston Villa. Everybody went crazy. I get it. But imagine him now. Do you think he's touching Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Gravenberch, McAllister? Not even close. He's on the Endo type of vibe where it's like, yeah, we'll bring you on maybe if we get we can give you 5 minutes at the end of a game. And heck, Endo is now even playing centre back these days anyway. So Endo's at least found a position that he can at least get into. I don't see that for Bajcetic at Liverpool.
I'll tell you where he's going. He's going to Real Betis in the summer.
You think so?
For a season. Yep. Because they're going to get rid of their one midfield. I think Cardoso, I think he has a agreement with Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he does.
No, look, I think Bajcetic is a good player, but the injuries have destroyed him. You could just tell. I just think the injuries are not helping him. He just needs games. Then he went to a chaotic situation in RB Salzburg, and they're just a mess. They don't have any style of play. Pep Linders was trying to play, I don't know what sort of football, and it was their downfall. And yeah, I think for Bajcetic, I think he's going to make another move. I just don't see him at Liverpool anymore. I feel bad for the kid. I thought he was a decent player, but You could just tell his career is going to be, a decent player for a La Liga club at this moment in time.
Yeah.
He will not.
And,
He will not make it at Liverpool, unfortunately for him.
and you know what, Michael? This is what I need people to understand. That's fine, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
not everybody can make it at like Liverpool and Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Like, not everybody can forge a career, but you can still have a good career without being at these clubs. And I feel like people almost take it to heart when you say it. It's like, how dare you? It's like, well, no, he can still go and play for one of the. He can win a Copa del Rey potentially in the future with like a Real Betis if he stay. Like, we have no idea how his career may turn out. Like, and I don't want people to think, oh, I don't think he's shit. I'm talking, when I talk about these players, I mean for Liverpool. For anybody else, yes, he can go to Real Betis. I think he'd do an absolutely fine job because I feel that he would be back in his home country. He would be able to, as Michael said, get the game time. And I feel like there's not so much eyes on you here. Where at Liverpool, remember, we're looking at some of these. I know, Zane, you just said Trey ENNY. Remember, we're looking at ENNY. He's a brilliant player, I think, anyway. But you're looking at ENNY and you're like, yeah, I need you to get to this level kind of quickly because we're trying to win the Premier League and the Champions League for the next few seasons. Whereas Bajcetic, I almost look at and I'm like, yeah, you might be able to help us. Maybe if Endo was to leave and you came back, then you can get the Endo kind of minutes. Maybe that might work, but I don't think that will be good for his development. I actually think he just needs games. He literally needs game. Albio, exactly. You don't like sometimes, and you get lucky with a move somewhere, like to a big club randomly, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me do my thing. If I looked at Nacho for Real Madrid, if you're talking pure as a footballer, talent-wise, I don't think he was all that. He was calm. He was just a very calm and casual defender, right? Could play left back, centre back, and right back. And heck, I've seen him play in the DM position. That's fine. But guess what? He knew his role in football. He just knew I was never going to be a starter because one, it's obviously Real Madrid and they've got all of these bad boys in front of me. But when they need me, I'll be there. Look how long he's had his career. No problems, no complaints, whatever. Said goodbye to Real Madrid. He's won all of these trophies. He's laughing. He can sit back at some of these players who have played for Arsenal and Chelsea and, Bayern Munich and all of these guys and say, man, I've won more Champions Leagues than you've won league titles. How about that?
Look at Joselu. Joselu was a guy playing a flop at Newcastle. Mostly his career is at Espanyol, goes to Real Madrid, and comes up clutch for them and wins the Champions League.
Wins the Champions League.
You don't need to have a glamorous career. You don't need to be playing all the time at Real Madrid or Barcelona, Liverpool, Chelsea, or all these clubs. Not everybody's going to be a sensational footballer. Just know your role and execute it. And that's where I think Bajcetic is now struggling in. He doesn't know what his role is on a team or what sort of club he can fit into. Maybe a club like Real Betis, Osasuna, maybe even Real Sociedad, if they get rid of Zubimendi, would they go after him? Possibly. I think he just needs to go to a club where he knows he is valued. And he's not valued at RB Salzburg because that club is all about, okay, we got the youngsters in our academy. We need to boost them up and sell them for a profit. He's just there on loan. So they're looking at him on loan and they're like, oh no, you're just a Pep Linders guy.
Yeah.
So I think it's a struggle for Bajcetic, and he's not the only player that faces this in football. Countless players. I mean, Chelsea probably got 30 of those players at this moment where they don't know what their role is. Look at Andre Santos. I mean, the guy's killing it at Strasbourg. Is he going to get a game for Chelsea? No, he's not. He's probably thinking to himself, I could be playing at a much higher level than what I'm at right now. So yeah, I think it's just the struggles of a lot of footballers in around the world, basically.
Nah, I totally agree. Storm in a teacup, good morning to you. Who do you think is the captain tonight? Very good question, actually. If I was to base it on the team that I've got here,
Endo.
Yeah. Who did you say?
Endo.
Either Endo or he might do a Gakpo's returning to Holland. We can
like his former club.
Yeah, former club. Like we do weird stuff like that. Like I think for me, I have this weird feeling it's going to be Gakpo because he included him in this lineup anyway. Oh, sorry, in the squad. So he's going to play some minutes, whether it's from the start.
He's definitely starting. There's no doubt about it.
And
this is former club. There's no doubt.
Nah, exactly. And this is it. Apologies, guys. I know my screen's going a bit slow. But yeah, this is the team obviously I've gone with. So Tsimikas, Endo, Kwanzaa, Bradley. The fact that I've had to put Endo at centre back is kind of mad if I'm being totally honest with you. But hey ho, this is where we're at. I've gone with this midfield. Honestly, I didn't know who else to put there. Like, I was actually struggling because there were some names in there that I didn't even know. There was one of the names I actually didn't even know what position he played. So I was like, I'm assuming he would go with Elliot, possibly, you know, because he'd be the most senior out of the three. Morton, I feel he'll play anyway. And I feel like, why not put ENNY, you know, in the midfield? It's about time he gets a start, especially in the Champions League, in a game that's a bit of a dead rubber for Liverpool. So why not? And in the front three, at least you've got a senior front three. You could play Dan's. I would like to see Dan's start because I think, you know what, this is a game that you can play him in. There's no pressure on you. No one's expecting you to come in and do a madness. And even if you don't do a madness, we're not gonna look at you any differently. It's a game with no pressure. Give Nunez, you can even play Nunez on the left if you want, to play alongside him potentially, or in a two, if you wanted to. And I think if Chiesa does not start, I'm gonna really start getting pissed off. I'm tired. No, Michael, I'm tired. Every time there's an excuse,
bro.
Every time there's an excuse, like, oh, he's ill. Like, okay, I was like, he's ill. Okay. Oh, you know what? We still need to get him back up to fitness. And you know what? Maybe in this game, he will start. He didn't start the FA Cup game against freaking Accrington Stanley. Like, I was just like,
fair, he was coming back from injury against the Accrington Stanley. So I can understand they cannot play 90 minutes.
Michael, we are in January. It's January. You can't be saying.
This guy has been facing so many injuries this season in the last 3 seasons of his career that his body's probably like, gee, we're old men, right? Me and you. Yeah. If we play football for an hour, we're going to be on the bed for two days.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to feel the cramp. So I can imagine for Chiesa with all these injuries, he's probably going to play 60 minutes and he's going to be on the bed for the next 24 hours. He ain't going to be taking no electrolytes or anything like that. He's just going to be massaged thoroughly on the next 24 hours. So I think now he's just got to play, though. I think he's not going to play 90 minutes today. There's no way.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's still going to be a very intense game against PSV. I feel like he should be starting. I mean, if he doesn't start this game, Lord help him. Then.
Yeah.
Please just start Chiesa. Get him some minutes. I actually really liked his cameo against Brentford. I thought he was really good against Brentford. That's why I wanted to see him more minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
He didn't come on against Ipswich, did he? I'm trying to figure out.
I didn't watch the game, so I can't. I only watch highlights, so I can't remember.
I can't remember
I'll check
if he
now.
came on against Ipswich. Oh man.
I'll check now.
If he did, it wasn't.
It wasn't memorable, clearly, because obviously.
He only. See, this is the problem. He only
He came on for 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So what is he supposed to do there? Like, you're 4-0 up, Slots. Give the guy some minutes.
You know what's mad? I'm looking at it, yeah. It's mad. He's had 4 minutes, 15 minutes, 3 minutes. He had 45 against Accrington. Oh, he did. He played against Accrington Stanley. He played 45 minutes. Yeah. No minutes. He got a goal, yeah. Southampton, he played 45 minutes. That was way back in December the 18th. So, but if you look at it, bro, he's not like Slot isn't giving this guy hardly any minutes anyway, like regardless. Yeah. It's actually kind of mad.
He must see him in training and just see that either physically he can't do it. There's no, it has to be just a physical thing at this point. You cannot debate about his footballing abilities. The guy's a quality footballer. It's all about physical attributes that he probably just cannot keep up the pace that he wants to do after 45 minutes. He could give you like a good 20 to 30 minutes, and that's good enough. Like, it's like Ronaldo Nazario when he was fat as fuck in the World Cup in 2006. Bro, the guy was fat, but he was still balling out, but he couldn't play like 90 minutes of intense football. So, look, he has, I just hope he starts, bro. Just get this guy 60 to 70 minutes, let him get a goal, and maybe this is the game where if Chiesa balls out, he could maybe get some more valuable minutes heading into the rest of this season. Because we need it, because we're still in the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, and obviously first in the Premier League. So we're going to need the whole squad at this point.
No, it's true. It's funny. That's the second time now you've said something that I was either watching or I'm doing. So the first thing you mentioned was about Jamal Musiala. So I've got a video for the members going to come out later on today about why he's like my favorite player. And the Ronaldo thing you just mentioned about him being like fat in like 06, right? I was literally, just before the stream started, I was literally watching a video versus Brazil faced off against Japan. And I'm watching Ronaldo and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. It's mad though. He couldn't move, but he was still doing like the same. It's weird. He was doing the same things, but it was just at a slower like motion. But he was still getting a shot off. You know, he was still trying to, you know, run in and hold up. Like he was still doing Ronaldo's stuff, but you could just see like, rah, like this guy, that's not the same Ronaldo for 2002. Like you could see just in his body and everything. Like he just is not the same player. Or 98. Like you could just see it, like his legs, you can see straight away they were obviously a lot bigger. You can see it even in the shirt that they're wearing, which is, I like that '06 shirt. The shirt that they're wearing, you can see in his arms, his arms just look a lot bigger, kind of thing. And I was like, wow, Ronaldo, man, like, listen, man, honestly, Ronaldo is one of them players that I just think about and think, I just wish you never got injured, because if you never had the injuries that you did, boy, this Messi Ronaldo debate, that would have been a very good, very, very interesting conversation heading into.
For me, G, he's the most gifted footballer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Easily. He had the pace, the power, the skill. He had everything. It's just the injuries killed him. It's such a sad thing, bro. When he is basically a grenade hit his kneecap against Lazio, I said, no, it's done for him. Because you don't recover from that. Like, literally, 5 minutes on the field, after he just returned from a long-term injury, sidelined for like 10 months, and then his kneecap just explodes. I mean, how do you even recover from that then? But he did, and he won the World Cup in 2002 and scored 2 goals in one because of Oliver Kahn's terrible goalkeeping in that game. But, man, that was such a redemption story for R9. But if he never got those injuries, bro, we would have seen 1,000 goals from him easily.
Oh yeah. That's an easy one. I can't even lie. Like 1,000 goals from Ronaldo. Yeah. That would have come in.
On this game, I like this lineup though. I think this is going to be the lineup. In all honesty, I think Endo's going to be playing center back.
Yeah, and I've got no, and like I said, I've got no like. It's a dead rubber game, so I'm not really too fussed as to.
What do you think about the argument though that people saying, okay, if we rest players, they don't look as good then? Because we've seen that where we have a little bit of a week break and then we come back and we look sluggish. Now, we cannot be sluggish against Bournemouth because those guys, they will pepper us in the first half. So what do you think about that argument? Do you think we should have maybe started 5 at the usual starters, or full rotation, get a break?
I do think maybe you could have played a couple more of the stars. So Van Dijk and stuff, he can chill. But I also think Van Dijk, it doesn't actually matter. I don't feel like it would have made a difference whether he plays or doesn't play today, right? He'll still be the same kind of player. It's more, maybe you could drop a Gravenberch, right? Just because this guy, he's playing a lot. McAllister, I don't know. He's not in the squad, is he? He's not in the actual.
No. He's not in the squad. He didn't travel.
So I would have had him on the bench at the bare minimum. Szoboszlai as well. I would have had him. Salah, you can chill, because I just think Salah, at some point, you need to at least take like a game where we can just sit down and stuff like that. I think the rest, obviously, Jota's not there. Gomez just came back. I can't remember who it was. Konate, obviously, as well. Trent. He's another one. I'm like, Konate, I'm like, nah, just leave him alone, because that guy can't stay fit as it is. Trent, you could have put on the bench, I think, for a game like this, because I do think he's another one who sometimes they struggle with the rhythm, like the rhythm side of things. So he is another player. Like the rest, I think you can potentially get away with. But listen, it's just going to be interesting to kind of see, in my personal opinion, how all of this pans out in terms of the rhythm of this game. But then heading into that Bournemouth game, like I say, when we do the match preview for that, it's going to be interesting because, as Michael said, brother, Bournemouth are, they're serious, man. They're serious.
Such a serious. I cannot believe how good they're playing. Honestly,
they're playing excellent. They're playing excellent
football.
And I think
I like the way they play football as well. It's really direct football. It's none of this tiki-taka. Even though Iraola is from Spain, the dude is just like, get the ball forward, get it to Kluivert, and now Kluivert is turning into his father. That's basically what's happening here. And then, I mean, they have no striker, which is even more ridiculous. So I think that game on the weekend is going to be extremely tough. Today is kind of like a friendly for Liverpool. Give the guys some rest. Give some more confidence to Gakpo. Give some confidence to, hopefully some confidence to Darwin Núñez, and also confidence to Harvey Elliott. And let's see how it goes, because these players also, they need to feel some sort of valueness. Is that a word in English? Valueness? I don't know. Yeah, I guess
Valueness. I think so.
valueness.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, we'll go with
I
that.
think.
They need
Yeah,
to
we'll go.
have that sort of value in the club that you're part of this sort of run that we're gonna have for the rest of the season. So Connor Bradley to Endo to Kwanzaa to Shimikas, these guys need to get game time as well. So yeah, I think it's a smart thing to do by Slot. Those guys needed rest. The Gravenbergs, the Soboslais, they needed all the rest possible, and it's good to see that. But yeah, this weekend Bournemouth, that's gonna be tough, tough
Yeah.
game.
I think it'll be. I think, and I know, obviously, I know people say, "Oh, it's just Bournemouth and stuff," but sometimes you got to play the. It's all contextual, right? Yes, it's Bournemouth. Yeah, they're like this small club, right? Seaside vibes, but at the same time,
Hey, don't
you do need
disrespect
to.
Bournemouth. That's my unit. That's my uni, bro. That's where I got my bachelor's degree from.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? Like, but I'm talking in terms of this season, they're an outfit that you know, they come like, okay, you know, like back in the, let's say, mid 2000, like 2010s kind of thing, right? When Southampton were a tricky outfit when they still had Van
Yeah.
Dijk and stuff like that. They remind me of that. So I'm not saying you can't go there and we can't win 3-0. That's not, of course we can. But you face those kind of teams, they will give you a good game. So you do need to just.
Do you know who
take
this
time with
Bournemouth
it.
team remind me of? I can't remember exactly which season it was. It was early 2010s. It was the Bolton team when they had Tim
Oh, yes.
Davis,
Yeah,
Johan
yeah.
Elmander, and Stuart Holden in the midfield. Bro, that team was good. I remember.
Bro,
I went to a
they
game.
got to the UEFA Cup.
Yeah, they got to the UEFA Cup. No, early 2010s. I don't think Bolton. I think they finished 7th or 8th that season. But I remember I went to a game. They played Tottenham. They smacked them 5-2. I think they beat other teams as well that season, big teams. So it kind of reminds me of that. You cannot take them lightly. And the same thing tonight. You cannot take PSV lightly. Like these guys will take the game to you.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right, guys, we'll give our score predictions and then we will head on out of here. Big up everybody who's obviously been tuned in, man. Like El Manda, you know, Jesus. I remember that goal he scored, fucking up
against Wolves.
Yeah, that was actually a mad. They stole Brighton whole bar. They stole their whole flow. Yeah, it's true. And the thing is, but Brighton is still like Brighton are doing what I would expect a Brighton to be doing. But I get it because obviously they got into like Europa League, so you're hoping they can maintain it. But if Brighton can listen, the season's not done. If Brighton can finish in a Conference League / Europa League slot this season, bro, that's a madness in itself. But also Bournemouth as well. If they can finish in a Europa League / Conference League spot this season, bro, they're going to rip up the whole.
Ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, it'll be a madness. It'll be an absolute madness for Bournemouth and people like I say, Iraola as well. If he does that, obviously next season will be difficult, of course, as we know with teams when they go to Europe, right? It will be difficult for him. But I have this sneaky feeling that he'll be able to do all right in that kind of, like, he'll be able to balance the two. I don't know what it is about him. He doesn't strike me like a Emre or Eddie Howe, where I'm like,
Or De
Zerbi, where it's like, you don't know how to juggle two competitions like that. I feel like they'll be able to sign players, like good players as well, to Bournemouth next season if they get European football. I don't know how they're doing it because they've got some real excellent players now. If they don't sell anybody big, that's the key though. Don't sell anybody big like Semenyo or 𝐒𝐻𝐃, even though I think they might go. If you don't sell them, keep them for one more season. You wait, you watch. You'll see. You'll start to see them.
Bournemouth have one of the richest owners from America. I think his name is Will Foley. I could be wrong with the name. He owns. You probably don't follow ice hockey, but he owns the Vegas Golden Knights. He owns the Vegas Golden Knights, right? And the team started 2017. He said in 5 to 6 years' time we're going to win the NHL. And what happened? They won the NHL. So this guy, he wants to win. So I think they're just building a new training ground in Bournemouth. So these guys are serious, bro. They might be a small team. 12,000 seater stadium is god awful stadium, god awful. But they mean business, and I kind of respect that about Bournemouth. And look, as soon as Black Panther got involved, looks like Bournemouth are a good team.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. Mr. Mike, Mr. The Wire himself. Yeah, I mean, Mr. The Wire himself. But all right, let's do our score predictions for the game, and then we'll get on out of here. Continue the rest of our day. Mike, we'll start for you, man. What do you think score predictions for today?
3-2 PSV.
3-2, bloody, you said that quick as well. 3-2 PSV. I'll go with.
It's going to be high scoring.
Yes, definitely. I feel like there's going to be goals. Okay, you know what? No, I'll go with actually 3-1 PSV. I'll go 3-1 PSV. How about a shock? How about a shock on the cards for Liverpool? Like I said, it doesn't actually matter. Like, we don't need to win. Like, we're fine if we don't win. But I just think that because of we don't even have the other guys on the bench where I can at least rely on that to say, oh yeah, when Salah comes on, or when Diaz comes on, and all of these kind of guys, we don't have that, and the midfield looks dead as it is. So I don't even know what subs he's making for the midfield when that time comes. So yeah, if he has to play these guys for majority of the game, I'm thinking Liverpool kind of will lose. But if they win, that's a good look for Liverpool, by the way, and some of these players. So listen, this is a challenge for some of these players, like the Trey and Yonni's to stand at least put himself into contention for squads and stuff like that. Endo, like a lot of these players, Kwanzaa, Bradley, Tsimikas, and all of these kind of guys. This is a thing. Nunes, for himself, he just needs to get goals. As long as he can score, then I feel like he'll be okay, and he could potentially start the next game. But listen, man, we'll wait and we shall see, man. But Mike, what have we got coming up today? You must be doing a watch along of some sort, bro.
No, I'm not doing a watch along. I think my computer would crash if I try and do a watch along tonight with the amount of games going on. Nope. Tomorrow, Champions League review of all 18 games. I'm gonna try and watch 3 to 4 games tonight.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna,
and then the rest
I'm gonna try. And then I'll try the rest. I'll have to check out the highlights tomorrow. But yeah, 3 games to watch, people, tonight. Definitely Man City, Club Brugge, 100%. Stuttgart, PSG, and then Barcelona, Atalanta. But now Ademola Lookman is injured, so I kind of feel bad for Atalanta. Injured? Yeah, he's out for a month apparently with a knee.
Oh, God, I wish I'd known that. No, I think those 3 games for me, they're the most interesting ones. Anyway. So yeah, I think that should be
funny. It would be funny, G, that after how well PSG played last week.
Yeah,
they could be out tonight. That would be hilarious to me.
This is why that Stuttgart game, and that leads me on to what I'm about to say, is that Stuttgart game is the one I'm going to be doing for you guys tonight over on BigUp. So guys, the link is there. Click that link. For the first time, I will be doing I don't want to call it a watch along, because I'll be honest, I get bored of watch alongs, like sitting there. So I have to do a player watch along. So we will be looking at Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart, the midfielder who everyone's ranting and raving about him. So I said, you know what? Let's watch him firsthand, especially in a big game like this against PSG in the Champions League. Both have things, points on the line. Both really and truly need a victory in this game, and I know it's going to be the usual. I don't know. It's going to be 3-3 at 88 minutes, and Manchester City might just be winning 1-0, but then Club Brugge scoring the 89th minute, and then they're going to hear it in their stadium, and then all of a sudden things are going to. I hope that's what happens, obviously, this evening. But I said, you know what? We'll be over there, obviously, on Big Up, and we'll take a look at Stiller just to see how he is. I'll have obviously the game will be on. I'll have his stats up for the game, for the entirety of the game, so you guys can see. We'll talk about his performance, how good he is, any strengths, any weaknesses we can see. Oh, listen, it's just one game, but it'll just be good to just kind of follow a game and just see, how he plays and, stuff like that. So, yeah. I'll watch the highlights of this. I couldn't really care less. This will be one of the highlighted games that I will just watch quickly, is the Liverpool game. Like, I might have it on in the background, but I'll be honest, I kind of want to watch Barcelona versus Atalanta. I feel like there'll be goals in that game. So yeah, I kind of do want to watch that game if I'm being super honest.
It just sucks that Lookman is injured, man. That would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't know. I didn't know who's going to be.
I don't know who's going to play in that position. I guess Bajcetic for Atalanta, but Lookman is their guy.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy to say. You would have not said that 4 years ago. So.
Oh, when he was dinking penalties to the fucking keeper.
Bro, when he tried to do that, but Panenka in the COVID times, I was like, what are you doing here? So there's an example, G. Lookman was a guy who wasn't doing well earlier in his career. Bajcetic, many players, take example. Just go to Atalanta.
No, that's actually probably one of the best examples, in recent times anyway. Because he looked like, remember, he was going on loan. He was like, I think he went RB Leipzig, Everton. Like, bro, he was just, and it was so mad because I kept thinking, bro, this guy is just gone by the complete wayside. All of a sudden, man scoring in the Europa League finals. He won the African Player of the Year. Like, this guy is doing things, man. So listen, like I say, man, you can have a very, very good career as long as you make the right moves. And I think for someone like Lookman especially, he probably started to realize, you know what, I just need to leave this shithole of England. Let's get out of here first and foremost. Let's go to somewhere where it's probably a bit more about football in itself. And listen, he did try, as I said, he went to RB Leipzig, didn't really work out for him over there. But when he found a home at Atalanta, I just felt like he probably realized in himself, this is the place to be. Regardless of if we're winning anything, it's just about, this is the place to be. And look at that. All of a sudden, you win a trophy out of nowhere. No one expected Atalanta to necessarily win the Europa League. And then they go and win it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like your fortunes can change in a blink of an eye. So that's a lesson to you, as Michael said, man. But big up, everybody. Love for joining us this morning. Will I be back tomorrow? Maybe. I'll see what I've got going on. For the members, guys, I will be dropping a video on Jamal Musiala at some point today, obviously before the games. But of course, there is a video already out there, which is my Adriano video, the story of Adriano. That is an interesting story of one of the greatest strikers I have ever seen, but unfortunately was not able to fulfill that talent. So guys, if you are a member, make sure obviously you go and you check that out. Big up to all the members currently. I know there's Scraps is on there, ENDZ is on there as well. I think Honesty, let me even double check so I don't get it wrong. Honesty, sorry, I want to get it. So Carl, LK, Strasbourg Steve, big up to all of you for being a member of the channel, guys. It's $1.99. If you want to support the channel, make sure you guys go and do that. And I will catch you guys potentially tomorrow, but if not, I'll catch you sometime later on this week. Peace.